both awesome and hilarious on so many levels.
So we have this show coming up, this concert coming up. By the way, hint about the special surprise guest in the 3:00 hour might have something to do with that show and promoting our concert on November 30th out at Diamond Music Hall with Somebody to Love, the Queen Tribute Band, my band playing that show as well. We had rehearsal last night, band practice last night. And last second, our drummer, Alonzo, who is best in the business,
supremely talented
man, had a work obligation pop up. So he was unable to come to practice. Well, it's difficult to practice without a drummer, just because the drummer, and really, I didn't really, until I joined, I kind of, I've been hanging out around the music scene, pretending like I'm, legitimate for a long time. But since actually starting this band a few years ago and, getting into it with supremely talented people like Perry Woods, my best friend and our lead guitar player, I realized just how key the drummer is to everything. I mean, Alonzo is the captain of the team. Like, yes. He's the one that's
the drummer controls it all.
Yeah. And he's calling the shots during practice, telling us, everybody defaults to his opinion. It's very, very cool. Like when we're, if we're making like, some decision about, like a transition or, what song to play or how to get in and out, how to end a certain song or whatever. Everybody gives their opinion. And, a lot of these guys have been doing this for years and years. So you would think like, oh, they know exactly what they're talking about, and they'll all give their opinion, but then they all default to Zoe. Like that's how big the deal is. But Gabe, along with being a YouTuber, talk show host, rocket scientist, whatever else I'm leaving out. And then he also has musician on his title. So I called my good friend Gabe Pfeiffer and I said, hey, I know you drum at the church and Gabe's actually played on stage with us. Gabe is also a fantastic drummer. Gabe, can you come and to band practice just to like keep us on time, keep us honest?
Just to fill in.
Yeah. But but still, like it's really important. Like if we wouldn't have had you there, it would not have been nearly as productive. We wouldn't have gotten, it was much better to have you there.
Oh, I know it would have been a debacle. I know that.
Yes, it would have.
Yes.
So Gabe agreed to come. However, Gabe doesn't have his own drum set because he plays at the church and, the church has a drum kit and all of that. So he was like, hey, if you could get me some drums, I'm happy to be there. Well, the only drums that I had available at my disposal were the drums that belonged to my 7-year-old son, which is a legitimate drum kit, but it's a mini drum kit. You ever go think about if you have kids and you go to like your parent teacher meetings with your kid's kindergarten teacher and you walk into the classroom and you sit down in the tiny little chairs to have
those chairs and tables and everything. Yes.
You walk into the classroom and it's like, and the teacher's like, have a seat, you're going to have this. And you realize that all of the chairs are tiny little chairs.
You're a giant in Munchkin Land.
Yes, this was a tiny little drum kit, and here's Gabe,
adorable,
this professional, very accomplished drummer, like
in my work clothes, by the way,
and you're playing like it's not a toy drum set, but it's like the size of a toy drum. It's a real drum set, but it was very little. And I'll have to post some if it's okay with you. I'll have to post some pictures of it because it's a riot. It is very cute.
It is hilarious,
and it sounded like if you wouldn't have been looking at it, you would have never known that Gabe was playing like this little kid's drum kit. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was. I tried to make it sound as good as possible, but of course, there's only so much you could do with those tiny little things. I mean, it's funny. I felt a little bit like you ever see those toys where it's a monkey and he's got a little drum on him. And you wind it up and he's hitting the drum. Mm-hmm. It felt like that size of a drum to me. Like, because
you did not.
I've been playing a full size drum kit for like 40 years. So.
No pun intended. You didn't miss a beat, and we couldn't thank you
Oh,
enough.
hey.
And again, November 30th, my band playing out at Diamond Music Hall with Somebody to Love, the Queen tribute, and
With a full size drum kit.
With a full size drum kit, and we are going to talk about that show later and talk about that concert later on in this show. Around 3:25 this afternoon, and we will be joined by a very special surprise guest that is beloved as we get ready for that show. So definitely keep it here for all of that.
Yes,
all right.
I've heard the practice. I know how it's going to sound. You guys are going to love it. You definitely cop a ticket.
Yes, and definitely be here at 3:25 for our special guest as we promote this show. All right, Gabe. You know we've had now almost 2 weeks to digest the election. There's still a lot of fallout. There's still a lot of emotions coming out of folks on the left. The big story of the week.
I'm not sure they've digested it. I think it's stuck in their craw, and they're coughing, they're pounding on their chest, and they just can't get it down.
So there's a story out. The Chicago Tribune put out a story today, laying blame, in various places. I want to get into that here in a few minutes. We've seen Democrats blame the selection of Walz as the reason they lost. We saw yesterday or the day before, Nancy Pelosi was being interviewed by the New York Times, and she said that the reason Kamala Harris lost was because Joe Biden didn't get out of the race faster. So, I mean, we're laying blame all over the place. What continues to baffle me, Gabe, before, we'll get into some of these specifics here in a minute, but just the fact that they just can't get it. They just don't. Don't understand. They don't. Yeah. The American people overwhelmingly told Democrats, Republicans, the media, politicians, the American people overwhelmingly told everyone what we want and, what the side that we're on and what we want to see happening and more, and maybe even more than that, what we are tired of, what we are sick of, and what we don't want to have happen anymore. Overwhelmingly clear was that message, and yet they just can't get it on the left. The media, Democratic politicians, they just don't. They think that their message wasn't clear enough. We got to dig our heels in even deeper because people are just so stupid. They don't understand all of the great things that we are trying to do for them. It's amazing, this reaction.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's a lot of blaming of the American people as well. It's like, oh well, they're still a bit racist and they're still a bit misogynist, so we still need to educate them to the right side of history. That's kind of the position that they're taking, and I think the reasons are twofold. One being that their ideology requires that they maintain their current position on some of these key issues where they lost, particularly on immigration and their economic policy, which includes climate justice and all these other things, as well as some of the, I guess what some people would say are secondary and tertiary issues, being the trans madness and things like that. Now, their ideology requires that they hold on to those. You certainly cannot reevaluate them in light of what the American people have said during the election. The issue must be that they haven't adopted the proper ideology yet. And the other reason why they can't abandon those political positions is because their ideology is also tied to their identity. So if you can't massage your ideology according to what reality is telling you, because that would require you changing, at least in your own mind, who you are. And if there's one thing people are very resistant to doing, is changing who they are. They think that's an affront to their very existence. You hear people talking about, oh my gosh, you're trying to erase me. You're trying to you're trying to deny my existence because of X, Y. That's the type of language you get from the left, because their ideology is part of their identity, and so self-reflection is off the table.
Yeah, no, that's such a great way to explain it and put it. And I think because it's baffling to people that no matter how many times they're told how clear the message is, that they just don't get it. And you just explained exactly why they don't and why they never will. I mean, and this is something that we're going to, this is not going to go away. There are some Democrats, and we'll get into some of that pushback. There are some Democrats that I think have always known. We talk to America's favorite liberal, Keith Antone, regularly on this show, Democratic strategist that has worked on
deep in the machine.
Yeah, deep in the machine, has worked on many Democratic campaigns with many different candidates over the years, mostly in the city of St. Louis. He was a part of the Wesley Bell campaign and big supporter of Wesley Bell, who is now the congressman in District 1 here. He would tell you that he's not for defund the police. He would tell, he's talked about this. He's not for defund the police. He's not for banning, getting rid of the Second Amendment, or things like that. So there are Democrats that have more common sense. Yeah, there are Democrats that have, some of those more traditional Democrat beliefs that aren't on the crazy progressive train, and some of those are starting to speak up more and more. We'll highlight some of that in this new article out by the Chicago Tribune that I want to get into in just a moment when we get Ken in here. But to wrap this part of the conversation up, Gabe, the biggest story of the week, at least the through thread of this week, has been watching Donald Trump put together his administration, and still a lot more of big offices to be decided on. So this is a work in progress. This is going to be something that is going to be top of the news for the next several days, maybe a couple weeks still. But more announcements today. Stephen Chung has been picked for Donald Trump's communications director, and Sergio Gore has been selected as the personnel office director. Now, Stephen Chung is a guy who has been with the Trump administration. He's one of the few ones that have been around the Trump team since 2016. There was a lot of turnover in that first go around with Trump, but Stephen Chung has been somebody that's always been a part of that team. And it's important to point out that communications director is different than press secretary. So this is not the person that we will see in the daily briefings. Like, people, that's one that, everybody's waiting to see what selection is made there. Sarah Sanders was, served in that role, and Kayleigh McEnany also for Donald Trump the first time around. So that is not this, but Stephen Chung named communications director. So he will be a big part of the Trump administration. Want to talk about this administration and some of these names that have been made, and get Gabe's reaction to them, and Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show, who is going to join us in this next segment. Also, as I mentioned, the Chicago Tribune put out their editorial board put out a editorial today criticizing the Kamala Harris campaign and laying their blame for why she lost this election. Because, of course, Donald Trump couldn't have won the election. It's what did we do wrong to lose the election? So we'll dig into that story as we continue with Gabe Pfeiffer and Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show next on Colombo Company.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the News Talk STL app.
Love the News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
Intervine is the number one place to go if you are looking for a flashlight, lantern, headlamp. Intervine, great local family-owned business that makes the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps on the market. You hear Mike McCleary, the owner of Intervine, on the show with us. He is our AI expert here on Colombo and Company. He joins us every Monday, and just a great guy, a great local guy who has built this company from scratch. A lot of their products are sold online, so they are selling all over the country, and it's just a great local success story. And they have built that by doing right by their customer, great customer service, and on top of that, just great products. And right now, you can get 25% off everything at Intervine. It's a great time for the outdoor community. Hunting season, fishing season still in full swing, trapping season about ready to start up. So if you are an outdoors person and you need to have a reliable light source, flashlight, lantern, headlamp, whatever it may be, they've got you covered at Intervine. And also, they have, just the smaller, more basic flashlights, lanterns, headlamps. If you just need something reliable for your home or vehicle, Intervine has you covered across the board with all of those things. And again, 25% off everything at Intervine right now if you use my name, Tony, as your promo code at intervine.com. It's INTERVINE. Use my name, Tony, as your promo code, and you'll get 25% off all the products. And Intervine also makes batteries in all different sizes. So if you just want to stock up on batteries for a great price, 25% off batteries in all different sizes at intervine.com. Again, just use my name, Tony, Tony, as your promo code for 25% off everything at intervine.com.
Hey, Colombo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now! History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and brunch, with live music on select dates paired with wine tasting. Find them at 14319 Olive Boulevard in Chesterfield or online at oldhouseinhoghollow.com.
You know, when you're car shopping, it should be fun, not a chore. That's why when you visit Ackerman Toyota on Hampton, just south of 44, you'll enjoy the largest customer lounge to make you feel at home. You can always check AckermanToyota.com, but come enjoy the Ackerman hospitality. We'll be waiting to help you get what you want and while you're relaxing. Ackerman Toyota, number 1 in 2023. Ackerman Toyota for life.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
place to talk. News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 119-94.1 News Talk STL. Tony Colombo here in studio with producer Emily. Also, Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the Morning, sticking around on the line with us, and now also joining us in studio. If you're watching on the cameras, you will see that we have another person in the studio. Happy birthday to Ken Williams. Day late, but
that's okay. I love belated.
Yeah.
I love it. Anytime I can get it.
Yeah. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here.
Thanks for letting me come
Great
in.
to see you. Before we dive into this Chicago Tribune story that I want to talk about and some of these other headlines of the day, just want to get your thoughts overall as this week, Gabe and I were just talking about the continued fallout and reaction and blame game being played by the left. But more importantly, the team that Donald Trump is building around him. We just made the announcement earlier, just this afternoon. Stephen Chung has been added to the Trump administration, selected for communications director, and Sergio Gore for personal office director. So every day it seems like there's, multiple new names. There's breaking news as he puts together his team. How you feeling about this administration overall so far?
I love it because Donald Trump won. And every single one of them, no matter who they are, pick them, Donald, pick them.
Yes.
And then what happens if they do wrong, if they do something crazy, then Donald Trump is going to pull them back in. He's going to reel them back in or get rid of them. That's the way it's going to work, gang. He has a mandate. This man has a mandate, and he is going to follow through with every single thing that he said. And that means every person that's in there right now is going to be loyal to Donald Trump. That was the big thing I thought that I really found interesting, that the mainstream media, you guys said, well, he's only picking people who were loyal to him. Well, guess what?
Duh.
Every single administration in American history has done the exact identical same thing, but it's Donald Trump, though.
Right.
So, and what were those? What was it they were talking about, Tony? He's picking people on recess.
What's that?
Recess appointments.
Yeah. Yes. Recess.
So help us, Gabe. What are we talking about? What does that mean?
Now I'm only vaguely aware of how this is all involved in the congressional rules, but there's a process by which these appointments can go through while Congress or while the Senate is in recess.
So it has to do with the confirmation.
It has to do with the confirmation process, and it's kind of a speedy, almost sort of backroom way of confirming people to get them into their office, and it makes it really difficult to do anything otherwise than just rubber stamp the choices. Now, there was a lot of issues with Barack Obama using that process. He did so with, I think, 36 of his picks.
32.
32. Sorry, 32 of his picks. And the Democrats were like, "What? This is just the way we do business now."
Right.
So now this is basically the Republicans saying, "Well, okay, then you set the table for this, so here we go."
And basically, that's what I was going to say, is that you had Obama with 32 of them, but they didn't say anything then. They thought that was just the way it was supposed to be. What Donald Trump's trying to do is hit the ground, not running, hit the ground flying. And this guy, I'm telling you, Donald Trump is going to. On January 20th, it is going to be a great time in this country.
Yeah, I thought you were using the term recess to do with something about some of the individuals that were being selected. So now that I'm on the same page, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that recess appointment here's another part of the Trump madness and the derangement syndrome. We're talking about what he might do in 3 months. Or in 2 months when he's finally, like, if he's going to use that recess, clause to install these people, we're talking about after he's already taken office.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of other things to talk about right now. I feel like there's a lot of breaking news. There's a lot of actual things happening in the world today that needs the media's attention and should be taking up our time, rather than how Donald Trump might go about getting these cabinet members appointed in 2 months without the Senate, which, by the way, he has the House and the Senate anyway. So it's like we're just talking about something that's a couple months down the road at best.
Yeah,
if it even happens.
Lefties, take a break, take a deep breath, calm down for a minute, and let the person who is duly elected with a mandate get his cabinet together, and we'll see what happens.
So I mentioned.
Well, part of the problem is we don't have a functioning government right now.
Right.
I mean,
Gabe,
like who's running the country? We know it's not Joe Biden, because they said that he wasn't competent enough to run for re-election. We know it's not Kamala Harris, because we know she's not competent, period.
Right.
So then who's running the government right now? I mean, look, we understand that there's a lame duck president and stuff like that, but there are functions of government that are supposed to be continuing through to the inauguration of the next president. So right now, nothing of note is going on there. This is the lamest of lame duck presidents I've ever seen in my life.
In our lifetime.
So the media is like looking for somebody to talk about it in administration. They want an administration to talk about because they don't have one right now.
To that point, Gabe and Ken, how happy was Joe Biden to see Donald Trump this week?
Oh, Vic Porcelli, he saw Joe Biden's face smiling like that, and he goes, you know what that smile was? That wasn't a smile. You know what that was?
I know what it was.
That was when Peter Doocy, and he called Peter Doocy a son of a bitch. Remember that?
Yeah.
That was that kind of smile. I said, Vic, honest to God, I know it looks like it.
I don't think so.
But I don't think so either. I think it was he was really happy.
I think he's happy Kamala lost. I'm
right with you. I'm right with you there, Tony.
100% believe that Joe Biden is ecstatic that Kamala Harris lost, because it's the C I was still a better, and I honestly do really believe he would have been a better candidate. I've said that all along. I didn't want him to be.
He still would have lost.
He still would have lost, I think. I do believe he would have still lost. I think he would have been a better candidate. I think he would have been a terrible president. I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even fathom how he could have been in office for another 4 years. But I do believe he's more popular with Democratic voters than Kamala Harris.
Yes, I do agree with that.
At the end of the day. So, and I think that he knows that, and I think that he and Jill and the Biden family and the Biden team are the biggest egomaniacs, like so many politicians and past presidents. Just like,
to be fair, you kind of have to be an egomaniac to want to be the leader of the free world.
Yeah, exactly. Donald Trump's an egomaniac.
You've got to have an ego, man.
So
you do.
But being that egomaniac, you are going to always believe that you are the best person for the job, best person for the role. Joe Biden, I think, has a lot of hard feelings about the way he was tossed aside by his party and his quote unquote friends. So I think he's giddy.
Well, I
Kamala lost, and I think that's why we saw such a big smile at the White House this week.
And I agree. I think what Vic saw was right. I think he did have that smirk that he did for Peter Doocy, but at the same time, it's the same smirk. He was just really excited. And I think when I was sitting there watching this and they were talking, he was just like, in the back of his mind, I'm sure he was like, well, at least she didn't win.
Yes.
I'm just glad she didn't win.
That's where it came
I agree,
from.
Tony.
So the blame game continues. We have done stories in the last week about Democrats blaming the selection of Tim Walz. We did that story yesterday or the day before about Nancy Pelosi's interview with the New York Times, where she made the false claim that there were that less people illegally came into the country during Joe Biden's 4 years than Trump's 4 years.
My God.
Yeah, which was fact checked by the Washington Post. But in that same interview, Nancy Pelosi told the New York Times that the reason that Kamala Harris lost was because Joe Biden didn't get out of the race fast enough. Joe Biden should have stepped aside sooner. And if he had, then she would have won. So it's Tim Walz's fault.
Joy Reid said that white women.
Yeah, they blame white women. We've heard a lot of blame laid around, and here's the latest.
Now, to be fair, white liberal women are to blame for a lot of what's going on in the country.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yes, well said.
I mean, the Karen phenomenon is real over there.
Sure it is. So. Sure that. The Chicago Tribune, the latest to get in on it. Chicago Tribune criticizes the Harris campaign for paying massive sums to Oprah Winfrey and other celebrities rather than using that money and time in better places. The Chicago Tribune criticized Vice President Kamala Harris' failed presidential campaign for reportedly paying out campaign cash to celebrities like Oprah Winfrey. Quote, having someone with a large following simply stand next to a candidate at a podium and say a few words solo is one thing. Doing a whole live streamed event with, say, Oprah Winfrey is another. This again from the Chicago Tribune editorial board. FEC filings show that the Harris campaign made two $500,000 payments to Winfrey's production company. So Oprah was paid at least $1 million on top of all the other celebrities that were paid by the Kamala Harris campaign, because we saw them all over the place. And the Tribune board wrote, quote, rather than do such events, the Harris campaign would have been better advised to let its candidate answer questions from independent journalists and give her more of a chance to explain herself and lay out her plans for America's future. Celebrity osmosis did not work. Voters wanted to hear more about what Harris would do for them and not so much from the celebrities that she's apparently friends with or buying the friendship of. I agree with that point, Ken, but the problem is I think the Harris campaign knew that they couldn't put her out there with an independent journalist like a Joe Rogan or something, because she can't answer the question. She can't go deep into the issues.
No.
So I agree that that's a better strategy than paying these celebrities to hang out around you and give you these endorsements. But when you're unqualified and unprepared for the job of president, you can't do the things that you should do to get yourself elected.
No, Kamala Harris didn't have the intellectual stamina to be anywhere near Joe Rogan. I mean, if she would have stepped in that room, she probably would have started on fire.
Could you imagine anybody going 3 hours with Kamala Harris trying to get information or answers or opinions out of Kamala Harris over the course of 3 hours?
No
way.
This person was flush with over $1 billion to do with what she wanted to do. And what I'm concerned about more than the celebrities getting paid, because a celebrity, Beyonce got $10 million just for walking on stage and saying a few words. Okay. That to me is just terrible, awful. I don't know if it's illegal, but it's really, really bad. But what about the 12, and this is consistent, Gabe, the 12 coaches that were at every single rally, and people were being told that they'd get paid, they'd get room and board and transportation and paid to go to these rallies. And there were a lot of people that did that. They're going to start bringing that stuff out if need be. I don't even know if they need to now, but if they really pushed it.
Shows you the desperation, the level that they went to, because they knew, Gabe, right, that they did not have a candidate that could go out there and handle a real interview or do a real debate or anything like that.
And I want to know where that $1 billion went, guys.
Oh yeah, well it's $1 billion too.
Yeah,
because they're in debt.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's amazing, by the way.
So one of the things that I noted too is that there was some discussions among the influencer class about the money that was flying around from this campaign as well. One influencer went on and said she received an invitation, kind of couched as an invitation to proclaim her support for Kamala Harris. And she said she had no intention of taking it because she was actually a Trump supporter.
And Christian.
But she emailed back and she said, you know what, I'm going to need like $12,000 for this, that, and the other thing. And just expecting it to be received as a joke, as a oh no, there's no way we could do that. And it said, that sounds fine. That was the reply, basically. So the campaign for Kamala Harris for president was very willing to dole out thousands upon thousands.
It shows how common that was. If they didn't give any pushback or seem surprised by that shows you how standard that was.
Well,
so and ultimately that what it meant was that the main person who's supposed to sell themselves for president is the candidate. But because she was so bad at selling herself, they had to pay everybody else to try and sell her.
And Gabe, you're talking about a different one, because I saw a video of the person themselves sitting there saying, with their husband, saying, I got this email.
That's a different one. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to throw a crazy number at her and at them and really, really push it and see how far they would go. So she said 50,000. And they replied with
50.
Yeah, 50,000. And she said, they replied with absolutely no problem. And she said, okay, but I also want to bring 3 of my friends with me and I want room and board for all of us. And they said,
oh, wow,
we'll not only do that, but we'll give you tickets to the rally for 4 people.
So this other lady, she lowballed them.
Oh, lowballed them big time. Yeah.
They were excited when they heard 12.
Yeah, as these stories come out, there's more and more people around the country kicking themselves that realize I could have gotten $50,000.
I know.
Paid
right.
Just to shill.
I thought I was doing good with the hotel room and the flight, but I could have gotten $50,000 on top of all of it. Just to drive this point home, this thought was that was in the Tribune today was also backed up by another fellow Democrat on CNN earlier today. Representative Greg Landsman from Ohio ripped his own party on CNN this morning. And I do mean it happened on CNN this morning, but the name of the show is CNN this morning. So
right.
It was on CNN this morning. For trotting out high-profile celebrity endorsements during the 2024 election cycle. The congressman said, quote, like no one cares. We like their movies. We like their music. Who they're voting for? Not so important. He went on to say that instead of helping Democrats win elections, it actually just makes them seem out of touch with voters when they pay and surround themselves with all these elite Hollywood A-listers, saying, quote, if you're hanging out with these celebrities, it's not the life I'm living. So, yeah, it feels a lot different. And
question, guys.
I think that's a great point. Go ahead.
Is the celebrity endorsement dead?
Yes.
I never believed in it to begin with. I've said this for a long time. I'm not a big believer in endorsements. I think that some carry a little bit more weight than others, but at the end of the day, I just don't buy the whole endorsement thing anyway.
I'd say 20 years ago, it had a lot of pull. I really do. I think that when you got a sports, personality up there and you got these celebrities that were, that are adored by Americans, you had 25 years ago, you had people who really, really felt that way. Now, I think America's been red pilled. I'm just telling you right now, America's not trusting the government. They're not trusting the situation we're talking about right now. And I think that's going to be there for a while.
Got a couple minutes left here with Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show and Gabe Pfeiffer from Mike Ferguson in the morning. Want to talk about Elon Musk and this new Department of Government Efficiency.
Doge for the win.
The Doge.
Elon Musk was with Donald Trump last night for a America First Policy Institute gala at Mar-a-Lago. Musk talked to the crowd about being the co-lead of the incoming Government Efficiency Department, along with Vivek Ramaswamy. And he said to the crowd, quote, "As President Trump said, what we need is common sense. This won't be business as usual. This is going to be a revolution." Donald Trump has laid out, the responsibilities of this new department. And Gabe, as I've said many times in the last couple of weeks, I am the last person that will ever endorse growing the federal government, but adding a department with the sole purpose of getting rid of departments, I'm okay. I think I'm okay with it as long as they truly do their job. What do you think about Elon Musk being a part of this team and this government efficiency position?
Just a little correction. This is actually not a department. It's not an official arm of government. That's actually one of the key things that people miss because of the name. I mean, the name becomes a misnomer, but you gotta have Doge in there just because it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But this is actually going to function more like an advisory committee. So the co-chair positions held by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are unpaid, and as far as they're concerned, from what I can tell, they have no plans on paying any of the people who will help in the effort of combing through the government regulations to find the waste. So I'm curious to see how it's going to function for sure. But I'm certainly glad that it's not going to be another government agency. To your point, that we're not growing government to get rid of government. We're actually creating a committee to make recommendations about shrinking government.
And Ken, along with this, this Department of Government Efficiency and Elon Musk being added to the team, people like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. This is a very different looking administration than traditional administrations of the past. Final thoughts on just what we've seen so far as this Trump team?
Well, for a couple hundred years, we've been trying to use politicians to run the country. This administration is primarily not politicians. I mean, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what they're doing right now, I think they're on the right track, man. Mm-hmm. I want them to be let loose. And if they falter, Donald Trump's going to put them back in line.
Yeah. Donald Trump has no problem firing people. We know that.
No.
So yeah, if they're not cutting it, they will be gone. Gabe, final thoughts on this non-traditional team that Donald Trump seems to be building around him. Are you happy about the direction of this? You think this is a kind of a new generation, a new way to go that could be more productive?
But like any business deal, it's kind of high risk, high reward in many instances.
Yeah.
But given the people that he's got, I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty dang happy with a lot of the appointments. I'm curious to see how it's going to go because it's non-traditional, like you said. So I'm hoping that it's able to break through all the swampiness and actually accomplish things that the American people want. I mean, in his first term, Donald Trump actually delivered on a lot of the promises he made, surprising basically everybody. Wait a minute, a politician doing what he said he's going to do.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that at least some of the things that he's looking to accomplish with this new team are gonna make it.
Yeah, and this time he comes with a I think better team. a better knowledge of how to go about defeating the swamp, and certainly a mandate from the American people that have given him the House, the Senate, and an overwhelming of victory in the election. So Donald Trump has the keys to get everything done, and we will watch it all unfold and see just how much production we can get from this Donald Trump administration. And if the Republicans can stay together, stay unified, not mess up their own momentum like Republicans are so known to do.
The Republicans need to stay out of their way.
That's Ken Williams from the Vic Porcelli Show every weekday starting at 9 a.m. here on News Talk STL, and Gabe Pfeiffer, Mike Ferguson in the morning every weekday starting at 5:30 in the morning here on News Talk STL. Also check out Gabe's YouTube channel, St. John the Philosopher on YouTube. Guys, thanks as always for your time. Have a great weekend.
Hey, thanks you guys.
You bet.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
All right. We are going to get that all-important weekend forecast. Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett will be on with us next to tell you what to expect out there this weekend.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
The left is absolutely going crazy, hair on fire with the Trump nominees to serve in his cabinet.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo inviting you to join my band along with Somebody to Love, Tribute to Queen, for an awesome night of music Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Join us as we kick off the season of holiday cheer with my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Support live local music and join us for a great party Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
Steve Templeton's Weekend Forecast, brought to you by Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor for all your roofing needs. Visit ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER Roofing.com.
Welcome back to Colombo and Company on 119-94.1 News Talk STL. Going to talk to Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett here in just a moment to get you that all-important weekend forecast. Also, touched on this a few minutes ago, talking about, it's a great time to be out in the great outdoors. It's still very much fishing season. In fact, this is maybe the best time to be fishing right now as we get closer to the winter. They get more aggressive and really a chance to take advantage of that. Have a great day out on the water. Also, hunting season is in full swing. Trapping season is getting started. And the team out of Bluff City Outdoors in Alton, Illinois, about a mile east of Fast Eddie's there on Broadway. Bluff City Outdoors open 7 days a week, and they can help you out with products and services in all of those areas: fishing, hunting, trapping. They also have their archery range that's open 7 days a week for you to shoot in. State-of-the-art archery range out there. And don't forget about the Bluff City Outdoors Show. The Bluff City Outdoors Show every weekend here on News Talk STL, hosted by me and Mark McMurray, the owner of Bluff City Outdoors. And that show is on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. and Sundays at noon. And just like Colombo and Company, we also put out the Bluff City Outdoors Show podcast right after we get off the air each and every week. So just like this show, we put out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day. Make sure you are subscribed to both the Bluff City Outdoors Show podcast and the Colombo and Company podcast on your favorite podcast platform, because it's the best way to make sure that you never miss anything that happens on either of those shows. And that actually goes for pretty much every show here on News Talk STL. All right. As I mentioned, we are going to talk to a very special guest, a beloved special surprise guest will be joining us in the 3:00 hour. We're going to be talking about our upcoming concert on November 30th out at Diamond Music Hall. Also, the guys from the Haunted Garage, which you can hear every Saturday night here on News Talk STL, will be joining us in a few moments. Right now, let's go ahead and get to Kristen Cornett. The weekend forecast, this time of year, especially St. Louis is always topsy-turvy, Kristen, but this time of year, you could tell me that the high is going to be 75 or the high is going to be 35. And I would go, yeah, it sounds about right. Like, I just have no idea what to expect. So walk us through.
It's a very transitional season, right?
Sure, yeah. So walk us through the next couple days.
Yeah. So tonight, pretty quiet weather, partly cloudy. We'll drop to 41. Actually, for a fall weekend, this one looks pretty good. And just for some perspective, if you will, like you said, does average really matter when we get huge swings? But it's still nice to know what it is. So let me tell you, the normal high is actually 56. So with that in mind, Saturday, we're looking for a high of 61 under partly cloudy skies. And then we drop down to 48 Saturday night. And then Sunday, another partly cloudy day, another dry day, up to 68. So, I mean, as far as weekends this time of year, I'd say we're looking pretty good. The rain, at one point we did have kind of a low chance of rain on Sunday, but we've taken that out. It looks like any rain holds off until after midnight. So Monday's a little wet, but that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, I'll take that. You can save all the rain you want for Monday. If we get a dry Saturday and Sunday and both days are in the 60s, Saturday it's 61.
I know, right? It's pretty special. We've been spoiled. This fall has spoiled us.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I know we're a little too far out now, especially since Thanksgiving is kind of late this year in the month of November. So when is a time that people can start to look at the forecast and get an idea of what, a good idea of what Thanksgiving is? Is that a week from now? Is that a few days before Thanksgiving? When's the time that people can start looking at
what is the date of Thanksgiving?
It's the 28th. So it's the
28th.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks from yesterday.
Okay.
2 weeks from yesterday.
I mean, a week out, we have an idea.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, and let me just shoot it really straight with you.
Yeah,
because
please.
That's what else am I going to do? The further out you go, the less reliable the forecasts are. I mean, it is what it is. So we'll have a pretty good idea a week out. But at the same time, it's like the closer we get, the better chances of it actually turning out the way that we're expecting it to be. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, I've got 10 days out, which gets us kind of close.
Yeah.
And not seeing anything too crazy yet. As a matter of fact, we're probably going to end up with one of the top 10 latest first freezes on record. I mean, we haven't even dropped down below 35 yet at Lambert.
Wow.
This season. Yeah. So it's been a very, very mild fall for us so far. Now, does that continue?
Mm-hmm.
Your guess is as good as mine. Honestly, long range forecasting, I say take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why we play it by ear. And I'll tell you what, if we can get anything like what we're going to get this weekend around that Thanksgiving holiday, that's about as good as you can ask for. So
I will see if I can put in an order for you.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much. Listen, I really appreciate your time as always, and everything that the Channel 4 weather team does for us here all week long, keeping the listeners informed about what's going out there weather-wise. Can't thank you enough. Kristen Cornett, thanks as always for your time.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah,
bye-bye.
Gotcha. Great stuff there. That is Channel 4 meteorologist Kristen Cornett. Great stuff there. All right. As I mentioned, we are going to talk to the guys from the Haunted Garage. We also have a conversation and some guests coming in to talk about our show on November 30th out at Diamond Music Hall. My band opening up for Somebody to Love, the Queen Tribute Band. And along with that conversation comes a very special surprise guest. So a lot to get to as we roll along here on Colombo Company on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
I've got a way for you to really dress up your home, and only one guy I'd trust to do it. Michael Proctor, like doctor. Michael will personally examine which drapes, blinds, or shutters will complement your home. He doesn't just measure, he designs, and to make sure it's done right, he will install them. All this saves you money on custom-made drapes, shades, and shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. ProctorDrapery.com.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 19th at the Factory in the District in the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2025 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by sending an email to emails@royalbanksnet.com or by calling 314-212-1545.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapons Systems in Fenton. KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. A nationwide survey finds younger Trump voters less excited about some of his policies than older conservatives. Jennifer King has more.
Donald Trump won nearly half of voters ages 18 to 29 in this year's election, but they don't agree with him on as many issues compared to voters 65 and up. That's according to the latest AP Votecast survey. That might be an issue in maintaining his coalition as Trump moves to curtail immigration, roll back efforts on climate change, implement tariffs, and overhaul the Affordable Care Act. Votecast found younger voters were more motivated by the economy than immigration. They are evenly split on whether the government should do more to solve people's problems, but half want more involvement in health care and canceling student loan debt. Jennifer King, Washington.
The law enforcement consulting group says the University of California, Los Angeles should develop clear plans and policies, communication lines, and decision-making authority for major protests. The outside review was requested in response to the university's controversial handling of large student protests against the Israel-Hamas war in late April and May. Also at townhall.com, a top Iranian official says his country will continue to back Lebanon as U.S. officials circulate a ceasefire draft.
Iranian official Ali Larijani has pledged his country's unwavering support for Lebanon after talks with Lebanese leaders on the ongoing war between Israel and Hezbollah. During the talks, Larijani said the Islamic Republic of Iran supports Lebanon and Lebanese officials under any circumstances. According to reports in Lebanese media, U.S. Ambassador Lisa Johnson has handed over a draft of a proposed deal to end the Israel-Hezbollah war to Iran Parliamentary Speaker Nabih Berri, who's been leading the talks representing Hezbollah. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
But on Wall Street, the Dow down 306 points today. The NASDAQ lost 427. More at Town.
Hi, everyone. If you or someone you know were diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma, listen up. This could be the result of asbestos exposure, and you could be entitled to significant compensation. Call us at 800-818-0200 to find out if you qualify for a cash settlement. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here to help the listeners. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma should give us a call right now and find out if you qualify for a cash settlement. Call 800-818-0200.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with lung cancer or mesothelioma, call right now to find out if you qualify for cash compensation. 800-818-0200.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Kristen Cornett with your forecast. Partly cloudy skies tonight will drop to 41 degrees. Partly cloudy and dry on Saturday with a high of 61. That's about 5 degrees above normal. And then looking ahead to Saturday night, we're mostly cloudy, but it's dry. We'll drop to 48. And Sunday looks really warm for this time of year. Partly cloudy and dry with a high of 68 degrees. That's more than 10 degrees above average. Any rain should hold off until after midnight Sunday night. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Kristen Cornett.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Jewels on Hampton, paying some of the highest prices for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Call 314-752-5000 or visit jewelsonhampton.com.
Fox News commentary.
Media bullies are degrading our future Secretary of Defense, and it's low even for them. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
What the rabid liberal women of The View and MSNBC say with a mountain of salt. However, when they start taking cheap and stupid shots at our Fox News colleagues, that's where I draw the line. Joy Reid and Whoopi Goldberg are both hateful bullies who have gone on a rampage degrading Trump's appointee for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. And while it's often futile to correct stupid, in this case, let's give it a try. Pete Hegseth is a combat veteran with 20 years of military service and 2 Bronze Stars. He has served his country in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Guantanamo Bay, and has been a fearless advocate for our American warfighters and veterans. He is also a best-selling author, a graduate of both Princeton and Harvard. Neither Joy Reid or Whoopi have served our nation. Neither have contributed diddly squat to the well-being, security, or betterment of America. They and others who have degraded the service and the intellect of Pete Hegseth, well, they can take a seat. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
What happens next?
Iran calls Israel's strike over the weekend unlawful.
Happens right here.
That you cannot send 200 ballistic missiles into Israel and expect us not to react.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Welcome back to Colombo Company on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL. Lots of great stuff in that 2 o'clock hour. If you missed any of that conversation, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. We put the show out as a podcast right after we get off the air every day, and we put it on basically every podcast platform. So wherever your favorite place to get podcasts is, make sure that you are subscribed to the Colombo and Company podcast. All right, as I mentioned, in a few minutes, we are going to talk to, I will reveal one of the guests, Jason Nelson, our good friend from the Somebody to Love Queen Tribute Band, about our upcoming concert at Diamond Music Hall, my band opening for Somebody to Love, the Queen Tribute. And along with Jason Nelson, we will have a very special surprise, beloved guest in that segment. So don't go anywhere for that. And right now, as we do every Friday, talking to the guys from the Haunted Garage. Frankie from the Haunted Garage is on the line with us. Haunted Garage, you can hear every Saturday night at 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL. And Frankie, even Halloween is behind us, but the ghosts don't know that. So
they don't know that.
It's not like there's not still lots of cool stuff happening, lots of great things to talk about with the Emmaus Village project, still in full swing and still, brand new to a lot of folks. And then also we have another new location to tell folks about. So Well, yeah, start where do you want to start? You want to start with with talking about the new place? You want to talk about Emmaus a little bit? You set the pace here.
Well, our first and only events for 2024 at Emmaus are kicking off tonight.
Woo!
The pro teams are in town. Over 18 different paranormal teams have descended upon Emmaus Village. These guys are top experts from across the country, as far out as Nebraska, Iowa, Colorado. Big paranormal teams are here tonight at Emmaus Village doing an all-pro night, investigating for us because, as you know yourself, Colombo, you crawled into a hole and we didn't see you for hours.
It's true.
But
I went alone in a hole with Nick Schroer and his co-host, and we won't talk about what happened on the other side of that wall.
Eric Michael will be here tonight, which is fun.
Oh, cool.
So we do have another radio show. Yes, in tote. So yeah, Stand and Fight, one of the co-hosts there, will be here tonight, which is awesome.
Nice.
But man, this is going to be livid tonight. It's going to be amazing. We're excited. We got food trucks. We got carnival food. We've got a bunch of stuff for these guys to come out and just enjoy and help us basically investigate this place. As you know, Tony, this place is 73 acres of chock full of activity. And Haunted Souls, we have about maybe 10 team members. It's just not enough. So we had to bring in reinforcements. And then tomorrow night, we're going to have, we are completely sold out, which is amazing. Completely sold out for Saturday's first public event, the inaugural Ghost Hunt, open to the public. We will not be back here again till February. So if you did want tickets, I have 2 standby tickets. You need to go to emmausvillage.com right now. Use discount code Witches2024. That's all cap Witches2024 for $100 a ticket. I have 2 left. If you guys want that, it's a reserve ticket stash. And as I move, Tony, right into our newest location, as me and Dan were putting together the works on Emmaus Village and getting the marketing, getting the advertising going here for this location, we happened upon Arcadia Academy in Arcadia, Missouri, where 23 acres of an old convent slash school slash bunch of different places before it was, but it became an Ursuline nuns Catholic school for women. And this is how big this place was. Fidel Castro's daughter went here. Bob Hope's daughter went here.
What?
This is how crazy this. Yes, it had it has a tale of a failed exorcism where a student died. It has numerous deaths, suicides throughout the quarters, homicide, murders. The place is unbelievable. It's livid, but it's also one of the most beautiful places I have visited in a long time. They do weddings. They do a bunch of other stuff, but to subsidize some income, they want to bring in a paranormal team, and they heard about Haunted Souls Paranormal, and they said, you know what? Those are our guys. We now have an exclusive contract. We're under contract right now with them. Right now, they are reviewing everything, but they are excited to hand the keys of the paranormal investigations to Haunted Souls Paranormal. So we will have 2 exclusive locations locked down for next season. So yes, Halloween is behind us, but for us, it's in front of us, and we have to get prepared for the next season that's going to start in March.
Yeah. What is it? It's Arcadia. What's the name of the place?
It's Arcadia Academy.
Academy. Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, that's awesome.
And this place opened in 1860 in the middle of the Civil War. We're just 4 miles down the road is Pilot Knob, where Grant took his men. And it was a huge Civil War battle right here in Missouri. So not only do we have a little bit of the Gettysburg's ghost, the Civil War ghosts that are happening upon it, because Arcadia actually became a military hospital for that battle. So we have so many different apparitions that have undisclosed dimensions that are happening at Arcadia right now. So that is why we felt, you know what, these are the 2 biggest locations. And if I were to put them in order, I would put Emmaus Village as the biggest and largest paranormal destination in Missouri. I would then put Missouri State Penitentiary. And at number 3, I would put Arcadia Academy, 23 acres, 4 buildings. It is unbelievable. I cannot wait to take you and Nick and Eric. You guys are going to have so much fun here. So,
and what's amazing about that top 3 is that 2 of them, Emmaus Village and Arcadia Academy, are new discoveries that your team, the Haunted Garage team, the Haunted Souls Paranormal team, are bringing to the local paranormal community, which is just, we talked about this when we sort of introduced the world to Emmaus, that finding a location like this that is so massive and that does have so much history and so much activity and so many stories to tell. Like finding a location like that is like a diamond in the rough. And to find one that nobody knows about or hasn't had a chance to investigate yet is like a jackpot moment for the paranormal community. To find two in the same year is just unheard of. Yeah. I mean, that just is incredible. That's what is so great about the Haunted Garage show that you can hear every Saturday night here on News Talk STL, and keeping up with everything that they're doing with the Haunted Souls Paranormal team and all these investigations. I mean, it's just awesome, awesome stuff. I can't wait to go back to Emmaus for just a second. And I'm sure you're very, I'm sure you have a lot of excitement and anxiety and nervousness and and happiness, just like all, rolled into one ball of excitement and nerves tonight, because for the first time, all these various teams, like, we've been out there, as you mentioned, and you guys have done many investigations out there, but this is still brand new. And for tonight for these other groups, these paranormal investigative groups, the pros, and then tomorrow, with all the visitors coming, I can't wait to hear the stories that other teams that do this regularly, that know what they're doing, that will have, everybody's got their own style. They've got their own approach, their own new unique approaches to doing paranormal investigations. I can't wait to hear what these other teams find, and some of the, pictures, videos, evidence, whatever it may be, that are going to come out in the next 48 hours out of Emmaus Village. It sounds like it's going to be just an absolute blast.
100%, Tony. We are trying to make paranormal investigations great again. That is what we're trying to do over here. I do want to mention that Haunted Garage called a red wave on their show from 9 to 10
Boom.
3 weeks ago. We were the first ones to call it. We said red wave, Trump 2024. We were the first ones to do it. So we are making paranormal investigations
Hold on.
great
Did the
again.
ghosts,
everybody's welcome.
Did the ghosts tell you that? Did you have some inside information from the other side?
As you know, Tony, I only investigate Republican ghosts. That's all I do. And of course, this is a joke, and we're open to everybody, and we're inclusive. So people just got to take some jokes, and they have to just let it roll off their back and just come out and have a good time. As you know, I mean, it's just been it's a world of fun to investigate and to be with your friends, and you'll always be in a safe space with us. We have every walk of life that comes to our events. We have friends across the aisle. And this is the type of stuff that is bringing people together, gets their mind a little bit off politics. It's been tumultuous, but now is the time for us to kind of get a calendar ready for 2 exclusive locations that Paranormal Souls will be handling, and will be doing it the right way. It's not all about demons. It's about finding out what's going on here and helping some souls transition on, and some souls that might want to stay behind and play with the investigators.
Yeah, I know. And it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to talk to you next week and in the coming weeks about, what has been discovered at those places. And before we let you go, just because talking about the politics and, the White House and, has been in top of mind for everybody. Would that be, do you believe the stories about the White House itself? And would the White House be like a holy grail type location for you to go to? I mean, if buildings are haunted, if that's a thing,
yes,
if that's a thing, then the White House has to be one of the most haunted places in the world, right? I mean, just because of all of the history.
For the past 4 years, Tony, a dead man has been running the White House. So yeah, that's absolutely. You left it open, buddy.
I didn't even know it, and I put that on a T for you. You're welcome. And nice job on knocking it out of the park too. Very nice job.
Yeah, I would definitely say that when Trump was on Rogan's podcast, he talked about the Lincoln bedroom.
Yeah,
and that bedroom is allegedly very haunted by the ghost of not only his son, but just Lincoln himself. They were big spiritualists. They were both very much into Ouija boards and mediums, and they were really in that first spiritual zone where they tended to believe and had seances once they lost their child. So I do know that Abraham Lincoln was a big believer in the spirit realm. And so I would think that the White House has its stories. Of course, that would be probably impossible to actually do like an overnight investigation. But I do hear that they do a subtle history tour that does kind of touch on the topics. And if you guys have never taken the tour at the White House, it is beautiful. It is amazing. I mean, DC gets a lot of crap, but DC is one of the prettiest cities, got the best restaurants. I mean, I love DC. And like I said, I have friends all over the aisles, man. And it's just like, you know, for us it's just, there's so many haunted things in DC too. You know, Pennsylvania, when you think about all the founding states, right? So you have, you know, Philadelphia has a huge history. Massachusetts has a huge history. The Red Dragon Pub is still a place where Paul Revere and the guys got together and decided to overthrow the British Empire. And the pub is still there. You can still drink there. You know, you can visit the stevedores on the docks where Marcus Atkins would take his, you know, his temper to a limit and be the first African free man American to die in basically the Revolutionary War. And a lot of people forget that story about Crispus Attucks. We forget about him, but he and his 5 brothers, you know, as a person that, you know, loves the Revolutionary War, when you talk about politics, when you talk about all these different things, there are so many great ghost stories, but there's also so much rich history about Crispus Attucks being this African-American free man to take the first bullet for the Revolutionary War and is buried in an all-white cemetery with the other 4 men that fell with him. And these stories are so rich and they're so encompassed by everything that we try to do, not only in the paranormal, but in the historic realm of where our country is at, where it's headed. And these are the people that got us to where we are today, and we cannot forget them. And that's part of paranormal investigations, is not forgetting the history. You must remember your history, but you also must keep history relevant to the times, or you'll get lost in the sauce, baby.
Amen, brother. And, you know, and my ears perked when Donald Trump got to that part of the conversation with Joe Rogan, because, you know, it wasn't long ago that that was very taboo and off limits of, you would never hear, even an outsider like Donald Trump, you know, it was somehow considered to be like, you know, like, oh, you're going to take away from the credibility of a administration, or the power of if you start entertaining the ideas of, like, you know, Lincoln's ghost walking around the hallways of the White House at night. But, you know, when he's talking about that, you know, openly on this interview with Joe Rogan, and Donald Trump has also, you know, made references to Area 51 in the past, and the idea of, like, maybe more information coming out about that. The United States Senate, you know, holding hearings about UFOs and alien contact, and revealing to the public what the government actually knows and it doesn't know. It's like all of these things, all of these paranormal topics that were so off limits before are starting to be more and more become just, you know, normal, natural part of the conversation. And, you know, as that acceptance is happening for us here in our local area, to have these new places like Emmaus Village and Arcadia Academy to also pump some new energy and life into the community. I mean, this is just, it's got to be for you, like, just a super exciting time to be a part of the paranormal community and such a big part of the, you know, of that world.
Well, that's the thing, man. And we're calling it para-unity. Like I said, you know, earlier in the conversation,
love it.
We've got to come together as humans and find things that we do like together. We may never agree on politics, but there are so many topics of conversations that we do have. If you take the element of politics out of things, sometimes you have so much more in common with people. And I grew up in a generation where we respected people's beliefs regardless of where they stood. And we just loved the person. And I think we need to start getting back to that.
Yeah,
there's going to be things that we don't like.
Yeah. We need to stop the division. We need to stop. You know what? You can be on the side that you want to be on. You can vote for the politicians you want to vote for. But as we've talked a lot about in this, particularly this election season, it didn't used to be that the two sides were so far apart and there was so much hatred and division between the two. And how about, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, when you do see somebody on either side that is sowing that hate and that division, that's different than sticking up for your beliefs. That is something everybody should do all the time, vigorously and with emotion, and vote for the people that you believe are the best. But these people whose sole purpose seems to be to create hatred and division, how about we vote them out of office and we get them out of the media? And then I think the world would be a better place just all around. And that is our paranormal and social message of the day.
I mean, absolutely,
Yeah.
Tony. I mean, you hit it on the head. I mean, the hate that we get from The View and Joy Behar and Joy
Yes.
Reid and all these people is like, it's just unnecessary. It just, that's what they need for clicks, shares, and likes to keep their barely breathing stations on TV.
Yeah.
But like, everybody didn't believe them. No matter what they tried to throw at Trump, he's a mud monster, which was Ben Shapiro's great way of describing. The more mud you threw at him, the more popular he became. And, you know, it's just like in the realm of everything, at the end of the day, this was a man that almost lost his life twice, fighting for a country that he does not need to do anything the rest of his life but play golf and sit on, you know, beaches with spas.
Yeah.
This guy chose to go into this battle, and you have to, regardless of where you are, give this man some respect. And for even doing that, for attempting those fates. But at the end of the day, like, hate is just hate. It does not matter what side it comes from. And I just don't put up with hate across the board.
Yeah.
You can be upset.
You.
You could be mad. But when you start throwing veterans under the bus, like Pete Hegseth, who is with Fox News,
Yeah.
this guy has 2 Bronze Stars, man, 20 years of service. He's a veteran, man.
Yeah.
And we're throwing him out under the bus because you don't like the pick.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the America I grew up in. I don't like it. It's gross. And NBC and all these other stations need to start coming to grips with this idea that you guys are spreading hate, man. You guys are the hate mongers now. You're the war mongers now. Like, what happened to our country? So that's why we do paranormal, man. We get away from that stuff. We all have a good time. We have fun. But, you know, at the end of the day, man, you guys are doing a great job over at 94.1. I mean, I've been listening all week, and I appreciate the coverage you guys have been given. I mean, Vic Purcelli, the morning show, you guys. Stand and Fight. I mean, it's just a great station to be a part of, and we're happy to call it home.
Yeah,
so,
and check out.
Thank you for everything you do, Ben.
You bet. That is Frankie from the Haunted Garage, and check out the Haunted Garage, our Para Unity show every Saturday night, tomorrow night, and every Saturday at 9 p.m. here on News Talk STL. Also, don't forget about that last chance if you want to try to grab those last pair of tickets to the Emmaus Village investigation. Frankie mentioned earlier, emmausvillage.com. Go to the website now, send an email, and try to grab those last couple tickets. Also, keep an eye on emmausvillage.com for announcements about things that are going to be announced about future investigations in 2025. And again, make sure you're listening to Haunted Garage every Saturday night to get updated on all that information as well. Frankie, thanks as always for your time, my friend. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great day.
Love you, brother. I'll see you soon.
Back at you, dude. All right. We are going to be joined in studio next. Can I just spoil it now? I can spoil it now, right?
It's your show. You can
it's
do
a good
whatever
time.
you want.
It's a good time. Yeah. Just to keep everybody here, we are going to talk about our upcoming show, November 30th at a Diamond Music Hall. My band opening up for Somebody to Love, the Queen tribute. Jason Nelson from Somebody to Love is here in studio, and also joining us in just a moment, the return for the first time since she broke this show, and thank God Emily fixed it.
I tried.
Katie Fitzpatrick, who will of course be a big part of that show on November 30th, is here, and she will join us in studio to talk about this concert coming up on November 30th. So don't go anywhere. We'll talk to Jason Nelson and Katie Fitzpatrick next on Colombo Company.
This is so stupid. St. Louis's. Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Hey, firearms enthusiast. Looking for a family and veteran-owned shop with a wide selection of products and services? Head to DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green. DG Firearms has been your one-stop shop for custom ARs, Cerakoting, laser engraving, gunsmithing, suppressors, ammo, and reloading supplies. Right now, during their pre-Black Friday sale, November 19th through 30th, take advantage of no tax on in-store firearms. DG Firearms, 115 Business Highway 61 North in Bowling Green.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
In training for my pilot's license, my instructor wanted to teach me how to get out of a death spiral. In those cases, you've lost control of the plane. Depending on your altitude, you are minutes, maybe even seconds from death as the plane spins around and around, headed to the ground. Obviously, I survived the lesson. But I currently see the leftist media in a death spiral, and they might pull out, some of them, but there will be casualties, all because they lied and pushed propaganda to us for years. And with the help of a weaponized government, they tried to not only control us, but destroy us. Payback can be hell. Ratings are so bad that MSNBC is being sold. CNN had fired 100 employees earlier this year. Now more firings are planned. I'll have more details of this in tonight's program. As Barack Obama had said, elections have consequences, and the leftists have no training to get out of the death spiral. They're getting closer and closer to impact. But in this case, it's not so much an accident as media suicide.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com. Here's great news. Napoli Kirkwood is now open. So that means fine dining right in the heart of Kirkwood. So you have the original Cafe Napoli in downtown Clayton, Napoli 2, Town and Country, Napoli 3 on the streets of St. Charles, right next door to Napoli C, plus Napoli Brothers Pasta and Pizza in the Chesterfield Valley. All of those locations, and now adding Napoli Kirkwood. What a great place to dine. Napoli Kirkwood, now open. John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business, helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
Here we stand, or here we fall. History won't care at all. Make a bed, like the light. Lady Mercy won't be home tonight. Yeah, we don't waste no time at all. Don't hear the bell, but you answer the call. Comes to you as to us all. Yeah, we just waiting for the hammer to fall. Yeah. Oh, every night and every day, a little piece of you is falling away.
Let that one play a little bit on purpose as we get ready for the Queen Tribute Show, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Jason Nelson from Somebody to Love, the Queen Tribute Band, is here once again. Great to see you, buddy.
Hi, everybody.
And
so great to be back.
And also, for the first time,
Quit looking at me.
Back, I can't help it. You're my guest. My guest.
I know, gross.
For the first time back in studio since she left for greener pastures outside of the crazy world of radio and the media. Katie Fitzpatrick is in studio. Great to see you, my friend.
It's great to see you. I do have to say it to everybody. Tony and I saw each other last night for band practice, and we were like almost like 5 minutes in already arguing.
Yeah.
It took 5 minutes of Tony and me to be in the same room together. And all of a sudden it was just like, Jason, there were just things that we had to argue about.
Well, and we, Katie and I still talk all the time because of the band, because of the show, obviously. But we were friends before the show, and so I can't make you go away.
That's true.
Did your friendship precede your time on radio or no?
No, but it preceded our time
on Colombo
on our own show.
Yeah.
So Katie was the first producer were you first or second producer?
I was second.
Second producer of my very first weekend show back at the old place.
Remember that? Yeah.
So
for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Maybe even
With
2
Chris,
years.
The Weekend Report, it was me and Katie and Chris Arps for a long time getting that show. Yeah. So we go way back.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. But it's so great to be here.
And
Thank you guys for inviting us.
I don't know if I've ever told this story on the air, but I've told it off the air many times about the formation of our band. Jason, I don't even know if you remember this, Jason, but we were at actually a couple different times at our various lunches and dinners, planning various projects. And, as we've talked about, I've been emceeing the Somebody to Love shows since day one, and we've worked on many other projects together. And you were one of several people, but one that I really probably listened to the most that said, you should start a band. We would have fun. We would put some people around you, great people around you. And, it would be a great extension and just be a great thing to have, just have some fun with for you. And it'd be great for the station and your show and all of those things. And it was something that I resisted because I'm not that talented.
Oh my gosh.
But and then it ultimately came down to, I remember when I said, okay, you know what, it would be a lot of fun, it would be a great idea. And I know that with Jason's help and with I have a lot of friends within the St. Louis music scene, I knew we could put together, I knew I could get some really good people to come along with me. And then I said the two things that I insist that I won't do without is Perry Woods, my best friend, lead guitar player, just incredible.
Oh yeah.
And Katie. Because I need somebody to sing. Katie, talk about this. I still don't think very many people know about Katie being on American Idol and that history.
Right. The things we've done.
An excellent singer. So
it's been such an amazing time, and I'm so excited that we get to perform together again and to be with somebody to love. It is like my parents still talk about it to this day.
It's going to be highly amped.
So
the
amped.
Energy in the room the night of the show is going to be outrageous.
Yeah. So it's November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. You can go to diamondmusichall.com right now to get more information, to get tickets. And then also we are, there's a charity aspect to this. There's a charity benefiting from part of the proceeds of this show. Got to say a big thank you to sponsors like Weber Chevrolet and Great Harvest Bread Company in Maplewood.
Thank you
for not only just supporting and doing so much for the local music scene and for supporting the show, but also helping, support this great charity. And that's part of your part of this, Katie.
Yes.
This is a charity that you work with. So.
Yes. So incredible. So right now, I haven't said this yet, but I'm with Washington University, so WashU Medicine, and we were able to get an incredible organization with us to help with this concert. It's Kids Vision for Life St. Louis. They are a nonprofit organization, and they provide free vision screenings, eye exams, and glasses to children in underserved communities. So this incredible organization goes to schools. Right now, they work with 185 schools in St. Louis. They have 2 mobile vision clinics, which basically means giant buses that go to these schools and do these eye exam, giveaway glasses, all of that stuff. They have 2 of those mobile vision clinics right now, but what they really, really need, because they're in such high demand, is a 3rd mobile clinic. So that is something that hopefully we can strive and help them to accomplish and get. It is such an amazing thing to do for our community. They've done great work with children, especially those that might not be able to have access to that kind of care and to have that access to that kind of health. So to work with them has been an amazing thing. And I'm so happy and privileged and honored for them to be a part of this concert with us.
Yeah. And because of the great sponsors of this show and, the resources that we've already brought in,
yes,
there is already a donation. There's already money going to the charity, and there'll be a chance to benefit them even more. At the show, you'll be able to make donations. You'll be able to learn more if you come to the show, and I'm sure we'll be, working with this organization and telling you about it as we get further along. What's the best, if people want to learn more about them?
Kids Vision for Life, stlouis.com. That's going to be the website that you want to go to. They have donations. If you would like to do something like that, learn more, volunteer, any of those things, they have that at Kids Vision for Life, stlouis.com. That's the best reference to go to.
And Jason, I know like this show, like so many of the other shows and projects that you put together, I mean, we've got this positive, story of helping out a charity and three different bands all coming together. It's just all about
who can't
vibe,
get behind
right? It's
helping
just all about
kids
having
with
a
their
party.
vision.
Right. And it's just all about having a party. Like this show on the 30th and everything you do with the Retro Nerds and all the shows that you're a part of. It's just going to be a blast.
A whole night of good vibes. Yeah. And
So
great cause. And
remind folks about the whole night because we also have the Duran Duran tribute.
Yes.
So
Right.
talk about the show a little bit.
So the first band, of course, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine.
Featuring Katie.
Oh
Katie.
my gosh. I know.
And you will take the stage at, what did we say, like 7 p.m.?
Yeah, I think so.
And then
Doors at 6, show at 7.
Correct.
Unless Katie's being a diva and isn't ready.
It's
Like,
like,
I'm not going on
Totally.
stage.
I need my lemon water.
I might need my red M&Ms.
Yeah, only
Can't do
red
this.
M&Ms. Only red
and a
M&Ms.
green
Until
chair.
7:30. And the second band is Duran and Duran, which is a tribute to Duran Duran.
Yes.
That's fronted by, that band is also full of great friends. Their lead singer is Johnny Cruzy,
Yes.
who I am in an ABBA Bee Gees tribute show with. And
One of your 1,000
it's been
different
a great
bands, Jason.
run. And we collaborate occasionally on shows like this. And then the third band,
Somebody to Love.
Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. And we are doing a show of 30 songs, but you're going to blink your eye and it's going to be over and you'll be like, wow, I can't believe it.
It is seriously, take our band outside of this. Whoa, don't know what I'm doing anymore in the
Hasn't been
studio.
in the studio for a while.
Take our band out of this equation and I just want to give the biggest highlight and the most props to Somebody to Love.
Thank you.
It is that show in itself, the band, the tribute, Queen tribute band is immaculate. The things that you do, the energy you bring, the show that you put on, the vocals, Jason's vocals, I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
I really try.
Well,
Totally incredible.
Emily is a big fan.
Thank you.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, kiddo, but big fan of Queen.
Yeah, you can put
And-
those words.
We
love
and
'em.
I know we've talked about having Jason on as we get closer to this show. The excitement builds, and for somebody, if you're a fan of Queen and you want to see a group, a project that does it right, as far as the musicianship and just matching the tremendous vocals and musicianship of Queen, and then the stage show with the performance itself, the lighting, the video. I mean, it's just an awesome show. You guys do such a great job.
Great package. Thank you. Yeah. Couldn't do it.
DiamondMusicHall.com, best place to get all the information, right? And tickets are
DiamondMusicHall.com.
Yeah. Tickets are on sale now, and you can get more information there. It's once again my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, Duran and Duran, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. It's going to be great. A couple days after Thanksgiving, we're kicking off the holiday season. We've got a great charity involved.
Yes.
So we're doing it's a great party for a great cause, and we hope to see everybody out there. And we'll talk to all these guys as we continue to get closer and closer to November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. It's going to be an absolute blast. All right, that's going to do it for Emily and I. We'll be back Monday at 2. Keep it here for the O'Reilly Report next, then the Tim Jones and Chris Harp Show. Bye.
Hey, it's Vic. Are you worried about rising taxes? Well, you're not alone. With government spending outpacing revenue, many Americans fear a tax hike is on the horizon. But here's the good news. You have options. Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management specializes in tax-efficient strategies for income planning, legacy, and growth. Chris knows your money will go to one of three places: the government, healthcare, or your family and charities? Shouldn't your loved ones come first? Don't